And we are coming down in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Getting Sports with Drunk. I'm your hostess, Cupcake the Riddler, and I'm joined by
Mark.
Sheen Washable.
No.
Fuck the Minnesota Twin Souls.
The Mass Chris Massey.
And the Rat of a Red Baron, who is
Nero.
a frozen pizza.
Hey, does anyone else get mad that Massey stays muted till we start? He doesn't want to talk to us before the show.
I just don't want you to hear the dog in the background.
And that dog is talking the most shit.
Yeah, it's real racist.
Just like my quarterback.
Heyo.
Oh man, good one.
That'd be a good time to get that T.O. crying on the podium. That's my quarterback.
We should try and come up with a little soundboard.
Well, we got this keyboard now that I got for Rebecca that sits across from me at the table now.
Oh man, you could like play our intro.
Could you imagine if I had just like a quarter of the talent to do that? But there's some pretty funny sound effects. I did look for like a sampler to download it, but they're expensive.
I mean, I'm sure Massey's the guy to ask, but like, can we just like make our own soundboard?
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sure there's stuff they could do on it, but I want like the satisfaction of pressing a button.
I'm sure we can reroute something.
I'm going to start disassembling my microwave and see where we can go from there.
The popcorn button. It's Kyle puking. This would be kind of funny.
I mean, that's a sound effect that basically, lives for free in my mind.
Hey, you know what? You're just jealous that you don't throw up like that.
Not really.
I mean, it feels like sounds like it hurts.
I have like a weird tick when I throw up where I just laugh. I don't know what it is. Like, it's definitely like more prevalent when like I'm drunk. But like even like when I'm sick, if I throw up, like I just start laughing for some reason. I don't know why.
Thinking about it, other than that one time in college, I can't really think of a time that we've had the mass puking. Unless I'm not remembering.
The Jack Honey incident?
Yeah, that's the only time that really comes to mind.
Oh, no. I mean, I've witnessed mass throw up a few times, but I think they were more from being sick than being drunk. Because
I heard it once.
Mass never really drunk to the point of like that. Whereas like Kendall and I would drink enough to the point where we had to throw up to go to bed.
What I really want is a good, just massy beer foam puke. That would just really tickle me pink.
I believe I've heard him throw up one time.
When?
It was at his stag when he threw up behind a dumpster.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's rough. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
why don't you go take 12 consecutive shots in a row?
What a weird day that was. I did like 15 shots of Fireball. I drank 3 pitchers of gin and tonic, and I don't remember why, but I spent an hour on the phone with Ash.
That was when I kind of remember all of us yelling at Bruce.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So before I send the stuff, let's do our normal intro. So starting lineups: Gilberto.
My toast of excellence is to this picture I just saw.
Not what he asked you.
We never lead off with toast of excellence ever. Never. Done.
I'm gonna forget now. I'm just drinking Mountain Dew tonight and water.
You know, it's funny. I'm not doing it to shit on you, Kyle, but I was talking to Kendall about it. Mark said something a while ago, and I didn't really think anything of it until like 2 days ago when I had a Mountain Dew. And as I've gotten older, it is just awful.
It's terrible.
It's so bad. I don't know what it is. It's like when I was like 20, like not 20, but even 10 years ago, like I would be like, "Oh, this is great. I love a cold Mountain Dew." And now I'm
I
like,
don't care.
"This is awful." It's like somebody poured Sprite in my Gatorade.
And then left it in the sun.
Well, Pepsi tastes like shit to me, so it all works out.
I don't understand how that works out.
You both like Pepsi.
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, Kyle, I said it. I said that I didn't mean it maliciously, and you turned around and made it like a violent thing.
Yep, you guys called me out time after time.
Kyle,
Time after time.
I tell you, I knew that was coming.
Yeah, that was telegraphed like from the start.
Nasty.
Tonight I'm just drinking water.
Awesome.
So, nothing.
Nasty's drinking a nice pitcher of awesome buko sauce.
Nice.
Asabuco sauce.
Mock, how's your water?
It's, nearing the end of January.
Yeah, good thing you got to watch 2 Giants playoff games sober.
Yep.
I'm curious to see what Mock's toast is this week. Reed?
From the Riddler collection.
The
From
30th week in a row.
yeah, well, that's not in a row, but 30th week this year. From Oscar Blues, I have a 1050 Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels.
I am also drinking a barrel-aged bourbon barrel stout. Goose Island Bourbon County from 2018. I asked Kendall to drop one of my collection off, and we met at the Walmart parking lot in Hamden for the handoff.
It was good.
Secret hangout?
No, it wasn't a secret hangout. It was more of like a secret, like, loiter. Really loitering.
It was like a bottle deal.
Yeah. He gave me a beer. I gave him a Christmas present I found in my house.
Nice.
Yeah. And Kendall did did me the dish justice of handing me a Bourbon County that's only 6 months away from being perfectly aged for 5 years.
I guess I'm not really good at doing math, because when I just did a random reach in and I grabbed it and I was like, oh, this is perfect. It's the perfect amount of time. But then now that you say it, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they didn't make it in January, so It's not 5. It's 4 years and 5.5 months.
That was a miss by me.
Hey, do you guys think the Christmas present Kyle ordered for me is ever going to come in?
Yes, but it'll be broken.
Massey, I have a
Kyle
Christmas gift for you that's been in my car for like a couple weeks.
And it's at no fault of Kyle's, but Kyle just has a really bad track record with things coming in the mail because they either come in broken, damaged, or 8 years behind when they said it was going to come. Like, Kyle, when did you ordered me what, that abrasive?
He's not in here anymore.
Kyle's not here?
Nope.
Did he leave us?
Yes.
Or did he get kicked by accident?
No, he left because I didn't kick anybody.
Well, I meant like do you think he left, or was it more like a service issue?
50-50. I
Kendall,
don't know what service is like at this house.
Kendall, text him.
All right.
There was, I forget what it was, but Kyle ordered me the South Side City Edition jersey, the Jose Abreu one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he got it for me for my birthday, but I ended up getting it in like March. And the worst part is like Kyle was like preemptive on it. Like he ordered it in September, figuring it would take a little while because that was like the year that they launched. So like he's like, oh, they probably get back ordered or something. So he ordered it in September, and it didn't come to me till like March. Kyle's the worst. I mean, how many things has he ordered from Marissa that were just not good?
Well, the first time was user error.
Yeah, that one. We'll discount that one.
The second one, yeah, that was a bad deal. And came in with a snapped head.
Yeah. Luckily, he knows a guy. So we'll do Kendall, did he answer you?
Yes, he said. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Had to take a phone call. Sorry.
that's fine. We were talking about how you have terrible luck with the U.S. postal system.
Yeah. I guess I do.
Well, like we're talking like you got that gift for Mock's wife and it came in broken. You ordered me that baseball jersey in September for my birthday in November, and then you gave it to me in March because that's when it finally came in.
Yeah.
I think the same thing happened with the DeRozan jersey. I think you got it for me for Christmas in January.
Something like that.
Yeah, like Kyle just doesn't have good luck with the U.S. postal system. And I will say, 99% of the time, it isn't user error. There is the 1%, the wine rack. That's the 1%.
That'd be some slack.
Hey, Kyle, I said 99%, man. That's a good rate. I think if you're 99% on anything, that's great. Except for being 100% of the time. If you're trying to be 100% of the time, 99% of the time, then that's bad.
Truth.
Kyle, do you want to go with your toast? Do you remember it?
Yeah, it was a picture of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Tony Hawk at an airport.
Dude, Tony Hawk is living his absolute best life now that he's given up skating. Did you see that he sang Superman at a concert?
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought that was pretty cool. Kareem Abdul.
My toast of excellence is to Dearness Collin. Good for him.
Good enough. Kendall, what's yours?
Does anybody not know who that is?
I don't know who that is.
Do you remember the meme from like 10 years ago of the kid with the yellow shirt standing in a Popeyes holding a cup?
Oh, yeah.
So that kid became a Division II offensive lineman at Lake Erie College, and Popeyes, like through all the social media thing, actually gave him a Division II NIL deal and hung a billboard up in his hometown that says "From Memes to Dreams" with a picture of him in the meme and a picture of him now.
That's pretty
Good on
awesome.
them.
That's awesome. And my second toast, I'm only going to go back to back, so I don't think anyone's going to take this. But my second toast is like, there's a lot of hoopla right now around the Lamar Jackson situations, like how it's being handled. He's representing himself, et cetera, like what's going to happen. But I think what like a lot of people, especially fans of a team, like Ravens fans in this situation, but, any fan, especially when there's a deal that's like nearing the possibility of not being done or not happening or trading or whatever, you see like the nasty side of fan bases come out. And I thought it was pretty, kudos. So shout out toast of excellence to Robert Griffin III for tweeting like having Lamar's back about why he shouldn't be playing in the playoffs because he played with the same injury and now he's broadcasting from a booth.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was good because he was like, he played with no ACL or LCL for a pickup game during the off season, and it changed the way his knee healed, and his knee was never able to fully heal, and it ended his NFL career. Now, granted, he was playing it in a pickup game versus for $25 million or whatever, but still, like nonetheless, if Lamar Jackson's injury really is what he says it is, kudos to him because he's got another possibly 12 to 15 years of football left in him, and you got to look out for you.
Oh, I'm sorry if you already said my thing cut out. Did you? RG3 was responding to somebody, right?
Yeah, I think he responded to I think it was I don't think it was in response to anybody specifically as much as it was.
There was someone that called out Lamar saying put a brace on, you should be out there. I want to say it was Steve Smith, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he was responding to somebody's comment in a general post on Twitter. Yeah,
but it was a cool thing that he
brace on. He said, "This is why you don't play with just a brace on. Played with an ACL and no LCL for my brother's team. Changed the trajectory of my career. Hindsight is 20/20. I don't have the luxury of that. Lamar does. He's doing the right thing." And I just it's I think a lot of people lose focus that these are people that this is their job. If let's just say like a horrendous incident occurred or whatever, and I broke both my legs, you know what I mean, or like damaged them severely, and I'm doing a physical labor job, like I'm not gonna, if my job said, oh, you got to come to work, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm not risking my like future health for this, you know. And then like people forget that this is a job. This isn't, yeah, they're getting paid a lot of money. And I understand. I always hate the argument, oh, but look how much they're getting paid. And it's like, yeah, but they're getting paid this much because you decide to like subscribe to NFL, you know, season ticket. You go to football games, you buy jerseys, you pay for concessions. All that stuff is the reason that they get paid as much money as they do.
Absolutely.
And it just, you know, I like when former players reach out and they go, hey, you know, this is like it just happened to Massey. Do you listen to the Green Light podcast?
I don't.
All right, so the Green Light podcast, for the other three of you, if you don't know what it is, so it's a podcast hosted by Chris Long, you know, former defensive end, Super Bowl champ. One time or two time? Was he on the Eagles?
He was on the Eagles. He won in back-to-back years.
He won with the Patriots and then went to the Eagles. Right, okay. So, wait, was he on the Rams team was he on the team that beat the Rams?
Yes.
Yeah,
Man,
no.
he was.
Yes, he was.
Because that was back-to-back. Was that the back-to-back?
I think so.
The Patriots won it, and then the Eagles the following year, right?
Yes.
But did the Patriots lose? Did the Patriots beat the Rams that year that they won it with Chris Long?
I believe so.
I'm double checking. Anyways, doesn't matter, but I'll confirm in a second.
It doesn't really matter, but just how bittersweet, because Chris Long, I mean, he's a lifer as a Ram.
He'll probably go into the Hall if he went into the Hall as an Eagle.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, he does really identify with the team. Anyway, off topic. He hosts a podcast, and he has another guy who I'm blanking on the name of that played, I believe, offensive line in the NFL that comes on. He also has his brother Kyle Long and his dad Howie Long on from time to time. And it's like, it's always nice. Like you hear sports analysts and then you hear sports Joes like us talk about certain NFL situations. This one specifically being the way that Cleveland handled Deshaun Watson. You know, like there's a lot of people that are, you know, very anti-Cleveland right now because of who Deshaun Watson is and what they just what they were willing to put aside to sign him. And they did this draft where they did a draft of all the teams that didn't make the playoffs. There was 3 people. They did 3 teams each. Like, who has the best outlook 3 years from now? Like, yeah, because we don't support what they do there. And it's like, it's very like reassuring and like kind of like earth down bringing when you hear former players talk about how like, hey, these are all people. Like, there's a lot of people in the NFL that don't agree with what Cleveland did and like aren't cool with it. And it's like, you know, people forget that these are people. They're not fucking monkeys in a zoo.
Yeah.
Sorry, soapbox. Who else? Next.
My toast is to Chad Henne. He came in the Chiefs game for a little bit and let it drive. Just cool. I always like to see when the backup quarterbacks come in and like be successful. So cool moment.
Yeah, I mean, he had, you know, he not only did he come in and like, you know, kept the game, but he came in and 95-yard drive for a touchdown.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of times there's a stigma like, oh God, the backup's in. Like, well, hopefully he doesn't screw anything up. And, you know, we forget that, like, hey, at one point, like this guy who was a starting quarterback and had some success.
I didn't even realize he was still in the league. I mean, he's got to be in the league. What? It's got to be 15 years now.
About, yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to do nothing.
But even still, I mean, just to hang around that long, that like, it's not an easy thing. I mean, you'd see more people do it. You know, he's been around. I mean, I was in high school when he was playing. That was a long time ago.
I got another toast. If
you already go,
yeah.
Chad Henne's been in the league since 2008.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and wrap them up. I have one like interesting tidbit I want to say, and then I'm going to send you guys the hints for the guess a player.
Pass, did you go already?
I didn't. I don't really have one for this week though, so I'll just let you go ahead and say it's mine.
All right. To Jonathan Isaac for scoring his first points in about 3 years.
Oh, the Magic kid?
Yeah. His first game back in about 3 years.
My toast is to the Minnesota Twins for trading for Michael Taylor.
Them. Okay? Fuck them. Okay, now I have to redo my fucking shit because of them again. The second
I'm gonna
time.
be honest, Kyle. The only reason that was my is because for whatever, like as we were starting, you're just like, "Fuck the Twins, fuck the Twins."
Because I finished my homework. When I finished the work I was working on, and both times they fucked me over. with the Luis Arias trade and now the Michael Taylor trade. So fuck the Twins.
I would just, to be on the safe side, Kyle, just keep the AL Central open for a while.
It's like, God damn it.
All right, are we done with toast?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I have a quick interesting tidbit. I don't know if anybody saw this, but if you did, don't spoil it. I saw this post that was reviewing what the NFL playoffs would have looked like going into Wild Card Weekend.
Well, Giants are out.
Giants are out.
Vikings are out.
Do you want to hear the one seeds that get the bye first, or do you want me to go conference by conference?
Go conference.
Okay.
All right. So in the AFC, enjoying the bye week would be the Cleveland Browns at 11-5. And I don't know why this is like the way it is. Like why I don't know why it says they're 11-5. Because that doesn't add up. But the Cleveland Browns would be enjoying the 1 seed bye. The Raiders at the 2 seed would be hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Jacksonville would still make the playoffs at the 3 seed and be hosting the 6 seed Cincinnati Bengals. And then the Bills would still win the AFC East but as the 4 seed, and they would be hosting Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. On the NFC side of things, the Seattle Seahawks would be enjoying the bye week. The 2 seed Detroit Lions would be hosting a playoff game against the Atlanta Falcons, while the 3 seed Carolina Panthers would be hosting a playoff game against the 6 seed Chicago Bears. And the NFC South or NFC East division winners Dallas Cowboys would be hosting the first wild card team San Francisco 49ers in the 4 seed or 5 seed 6 seed game, or sorry, 4 seed 5 seed game.
Yeah, talk about a little bit of a different playoff scenario.
So if that were to be flipped, on the AFC side, Jaguars, Bills, Bengals, Chiefs, so 4 out of the 7 remain. On the NFC side, you get Seahawks, Cowboys, Niners, so 3 of the 7. The last team into being the 1 seed. And then the rest of the rankings would have followed. In the AFC, just missing the playoffs would have been the Ravens, then the Jets, Dolphins, Patriots, Titans, Chargers, Texans, Steelers, Colts. And on the NFC side, right outside of the playoff picture, just like in the regular season, would have been Green Bay, followed by Arizona, Philadelphia, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Washington, Giants, Rams, Vikings. All right.
Interesting.
So I'm going to send you guys, I have a couple discussion points, and then I have 2 things I want to talk about first, and then a couple discussion points. All right, so I'm going to send you guys, Massey, what do I want to send it in? This main page where you sent the "That's my quarterback"?
Yeah.
Could you say it with a little bit more tear?
Huh?
Could you say it with like a little more sad emotion?
That's my quarterback.
That was actually pretty good.
Never heard anyone say, "Can you say that with a little more tear?"
Yeah, I mean, if I could do it all again.
All right, so we've played this in the past for the audience because they can't see the message I sent you guys, and I'll read them to you as well. We play this game. We often do it through text randomly at a weird hour when only 2 people can play it, and someone comes back to their phone with 150 text messages.
It's always the best. 11:55 p.m. Guys, I'm thinking of a player.
Yeah, Kendall constantly will be like, I got out of the shower and just said, I'm not going to read through these texts. So we play a game called Guess the Player, and it usually revolves around NFL just because it is the most verse sport out of the 5 of us. But we'll dip into other ones. There'll be times where Kyle and I will play it like secret hangout text with just basketball.
Secret hangout text.
So I'm going to put a different spin on it. Usually the way we play is we play 20 question style where someone thinks of a player and the group just keeps rattling off yes or no questions until someone gets it. This time, for the podcast's sake, to make it a little bit more friendly for the radio, What we're going to do is I'm thinking of a player, and I sent them a list of 6 hints. They all have access to the hints, and then they each get the chance to ask me a yes or no question at some point during the podcast. And that does not include their guess. So they get a yes or no question, and they get a guess. Once you guess, if it's wrong, you're eliminated and you can no longer participate. If you want to help others, I can't control what you do with your cell phones. It's at your discretion. Or if you're Mike Mock, it's at your very much verbal, fuck Kyle, I'm going to text this person so Kyle can't win. And then that's pretty much it. Yeah, a yes or no question. So the hints are, I'm thinking of a player. They were 8 years pro. They were a 2-time Super Bowl champion. They played for 2 total teams. They were a defensive player. Their major statistical stat line was 1 interception, 6 fumble recoveries, 1 touchdown, 22.5 sacks. And they were a first-round draft selection. So those are your hints. I think they're pretty straightforward. I don't think they warrant any questions, but if anybody has any, feel free now.
Hey, the next time we do this, can you type it into the chat so I can just copy and paste it?
Also, who's the player?
Oh, gotcha. Kyle, now before I say go, do you really want that to be your yes or no question?
No.
Oh, okay, because the answer would have been yes. I hope that was helpful. So, like I said, at any point, you guys can feel free to ask your question. They have to be public. No texting the questions. It's the same knowledge goes for everybody. And you guys can guess at any point. So if you think you know it now, and you don't want to risk losing it, and you want to just go for it now and see if you get it, you get it. Because we're bringing back the GSWD points.
Here.
So this
I think I was still supposed to get a trophy.
Yeah, you were. I never got around to it. Your trophy is this Pilsner or Quell from Czech that I have.
That's cool.
Yep. Oh, drank it.
Even cooler.
Unfortunately, it was in the Riddler collection, so Kendall got to it.
Yeah.
That tracks.
That tracks. So yeah, all right. So we're at a go for the guess the players. The next thing is, I think this could be some good discussion for later. I'm going to do a revised Riddler's ranking, where I'm gonna. If you guys end up with the same one, then you end up with the same one. It's a tie. But this will also be for some GSWD points. I'm going to give 2 of you, the same ranking, top 5, and then I'm going to give the other 2 the same one, and then you guys are going to basically battle it out and then I'm going to judge who I think's list is the best. Does that make sense?
Say that again.
So I'm going to give, let's just for example I'm going to give Mock and Massey the same topic, and you guys are going to throughout the show, on your own leisure time, come up with your own top 5 ranking for this topic. And at the end, towards the end of the show, we're going to discuss them and do like a brief, reasons to argument as to why this, and you and Mock could go back and forth as to why you disagree with something he put or something you put. And then at the end, I'm going to decide whose list I think is the best and give you points.
Okay.
And then Kyle and Kendall will also go head to head with a different category.
Gotcha.
Going down, kid.
Well,
So-
we don't even know if these are the teams yet.
They aren't the teams. The teams this week are Kendall and Mock versus Massey and Kyle.
I see.
All right. So
Got it.
Massey and Kyle, this is your guys' category, okay?
Okay.
Excluding offensive linemen, rank from 1 to 5 the most important, like MVP of the league, non-quarterback NFL players.
So excluding quarterbacks and offensive linemen.
Right. I'm not gonna dive into the offensive line thing because I think that if you really were to boil it down, I think like Lane Johnson's more important than almost like 99% of the league. You know what I mean? Like he's just that good. But I'm not gonna dive into the offensive line thing. So skill offensive position players and the entire defense, and then if you want to, special teams are open to interpretation. Understand? Good?
Okay.
Kyle, you good?
So I'm making this list with Kendall?
No, you and Kendall aren't doing this. You're doing a separate list.
Oh.
Okay? Kyle, do you understand?
I think so.
So you're making a list of the top 5, like basically like MVPs of the NFL Football League that aren't quarterbacks or offensive linemen, because I want to stay away from the offensive linemen. And basically, like, who are the 5 like best players, most important players to the league that aren't quarterbacks? So wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, and then defensive players.
Am I working with Mass or against Mass?
No, you're going against Mass. You're making this list in private, and then later towards the end of the show, you guys are going to share your list and have a moment to kind of debate why you think something is wrong or whatever, or go, oh, I didn't even think of that guy or whatever, and then I'm going to judge your list.
We're naming positions, though, not actual players.
No, players.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Actual players. Physical players.
The positions is funny, though.
It is funny. And that, you know what, Master? I didn't even think of that. That could be a good topic for another time. So,
are we going players as of like today?
Right, players as of this season. You know, so like, I'll take like retirements into consideration. You know what I mean? Like players from the consider everybody from the start of their career to the end, like as of today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you guys understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle Massey?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to smoke me.
You don't know that. All right. And I'm going to be unbiased, by the way. So, like, picking, like, Eddie Jackson isn't going to get you points.
Fuck, there was
Delete.
Mock, you're not even doing this.
Oh.
Mock, you're going up against Kendall in a different category where the biases will also not take into consideration.
Prove it.
Well,
You ready?
I started making the wrong list. Yep.
All right, Kendall and Mock, yours is much more simply explained.
Okay.
Ice cream flavors.
Ranking 1 through 5, the best tasting Connecticut beers.
Okay.
Would have been way funnier for you to make Massey and Kyle do that one.
Well, I'm trying to create some decent content. That's why I didn't. Massey would have had Dasani, Aquafina, and Voss, and Kyle went with Juicy, Lil Juicy, Mega Juicy, Kyle Juicy, and the Juicy of many Juicies.
That's some more of that Voss water for your kid.
All right, so you got your list that you're making?
Yep.
Yes.
So it's Kyle versus Massey, Kendall versus Mock. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so while you guys are working on those things, I'm going to pose the first discussion point that I had for tonight, which I thought was kind of interesting. I heard it on a podcast. I wanted to get your guys' take on the matter. What do you guys think about... Well, first of all, does anybody know off the top of their head? Because Kendall thinks 3. How long have we been doing the 7-team playoff format? Has it been 3 years?
The 7-team playoff format?
Yeah.
Didn't it start the COVID year?
I don't know. I thought it was possibly that, but I don't know.
Yes.
I thought it was a COVID thing.
They announced the April 1st of 2020. So the 2020, 2021, 2022 season. Yeah, so this is the 3rd year. Okay. So now, granted, this isn't the biggest sample size, so you guys can use that as an argument if you wish. But I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about how the NFL playoff picture has officially, after 3 years, been deemed a joke. And the reason that they said it was because while they think that the bye week is important, it doesn't necessarily create the best product from this standpoint. In 3 years, the 7-seed teams are winless with a average loss deficit points of 12.5. So I understand that not every playoff game is going to be sexy. We just had the divisional round, and we had 2 not sexy playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles, showed that who they are against the Giants, and the Bills got trampled by Cincinnati. Hashtag lose by 3 possessions for DeMar. That's like my favorite meme going around right now. So you're not always going to get a sexy game. I mean, we've seen quite a few ugly Super Bowls in the past 10 years, most notably Denver and Seattle.
Yep.
But do you guys think that the NFL needs to revert back to a 6-game format, stay at 7 because the sample size really isn't good enough, and obviously more playoff games mean, more football longer in the season? Or do you think that the NFL needs to, in one way or another, whether it be longer seasons or whatever, adapt to an 8-team playoff where there are no buys, or where there are
2 buys?
with 8 teams?
Yeah.
No,
Like then a 3 one.
no, because it would be 3, 8, 4, 7, 5,
5,
6,
6.
and you'd have 5 teams left, so it wouldn't work. So you would have to do something like, and if you could expand it to 8 teams, and then you could make the argument for, because this is what they said, there could either be the argument, which I don't think anybody will take, the one team gets a 2-week bye, which would be absurd, or there's no bye week, the one team plays the 8 team. So, I'll go first while you guys kind of coordinate your thoughts, because I know you guys are working on other things. The 8-team playoff, from a sports consumer, seems very alluring. It gives you 2 more NFL games in the wild card weekend. If you go to no buys, if you go to the random, double bye thing or whatever, it works out to the point where, you're still getting more playoff games wrapped in. But my argument would be, if you go to the 8 team, if the 1 seed's playing the 8 seed, what makes you think the 8 seed's going to get any wins if the 7 seeds can't beat the 2 seeds? Now, I mean, I know that there's eventually we're going to have a 7 seed beat a 2 seed, but but the NFL is in my opinion, is a lot more top heavy every year. You get the teams that are like the juggernauts, whether or not it's a flash in the pan thing. You get, like the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, and then, but even if you get like the Titans a couple years ago or whatever, and it doesn't last long, they can still be a juggernaut for that 1 year. Like the Eagles right now, we don't know what the next few years are going to hold. Maybe this is a one and done thing for the Eagles, but whatever, they made it to the NFC Championship game. They're a juggernaut this year. It's very top heavy, and the better teams more than often tend to make it further in the playoffs. Not necessarily always win the whole thing, as the Giants have done twice, win the Super Bowl as not the best seed. But more times than not, you always get at least 2 or 3 teams that you would expect to be there being there. Whereas in the NBA, for example, or in the NHL, where 8 teams make it every year, it's not uncommon for an 8 seed to upset a 1 seed. It doesn't happen all the time, but it doesn't happen rarely enough where it's like a surprise when it does. Kyle, would you agree with that?
Yeah, what was the last one? The Pistons did it, right?
I mean, I'd have to look it up, but I'm sure someone's done it in the past 2 or 3 years.
It might even happen this year.
It probably will happen this year in the East.
Yeah.
It could, because, the only way it doesn't happen is if Boston just keeps doing what Boston's doing. But so my argument would be, from the standpoint of the way that I look at it is, I think what creates the best playoff football, and we've kind of seen this over the past few years, is, especially this year, is the excess of division matchups in the playoffs. We've seen a lot of that this year. You had Giants-Eagles. We had
Bills-Dolphins.
We had Bengals-Ravens. We had
49ers-Seahawks.
49ers-Seahawks. Right. And then, we saw in those games that, teams didn't go, Miami, who was really outmatched at the most important position, almost won the game. The Ravens didn't go away quietly. Seattle, they got blown out in the second half, but the Seattle looked like they could have won that game in the way they played the first half against San Francisco.
Yeah, all those division wildcard games were pretty good.
Right. So, my thought process would be, if you're going to go to 8 teams, which I don't hate because it creates more playoff football, My argument would be go to 8 teams, eliminate the buys, but get rid of wild cards. Top 2 teams from each division, make more division matchups. More division matchups will just naturally happen from that way. Even if you have, like this year, the Cowboys were the number 1 wild card team and the Eagles were the 1 seed in the NFC, in that playoff format, if all the best teams win except the Cowboys manage to beat the 4 seed, then you get Cowboys-Eagles in the next round.
I mean, another thing you can do, just kind of playing off, the 7 hasn't beaten the 2 yet. Even if you go to 8 teams, just take the top 8 teams from each side. I mean, you figure like the Bucks had no business being in the playoffs this year.
I like that concept because like that's more or less like what the NBA does. Like divisions don't matter, but I think division football is too important to the structure of the way the football season is played. Because if you just take the best 8 teams, you're basically saying division matchups don't matter. Because winning your division doesn't mean anything. Because like the Bucks won their division, but wouldn't have gotten in the playoffs. So then then we eliminate the divisions. And I just like, from like my standpoint, and Mock, I think you can say the same from like a storied franchise career. I want, even if the Bears are bad, I want the Packers twice a year. I want the Vikings twice a year.
Of course.
So I think from that standpoint, like you got to do the top 2 and just no wild cards. And then you still get some shitty things. Like in this situation, the Giants would have missed the playoffs and the Bucks and the Panthers would have made it, which makes, which I'm sure makes your stomach rumble. But, at least then it just kind of develops more playoff-y type matchups or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
though you think of it that way, then you have 2 teams with losing records.
Well, I think too, so
the way this is the other way I thought about it was if you do it this way, you make the season 18 games instead of 17. This is just this is a real stretch, some food for thought. Make the season 18 games. But that 1 week, 18, the 18th game is kind of more like that NBA play-in weekend that they do for the playoffs now, where the 10 seed plays the 7 seed and the 9 seed plays the 8 seed. So it's like playoff purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is on week 18, the top 2 division people battle it out for who goes in to represent their division. Kind of like a gauntlet. It's too messy, but I just like to see these teams just fuck each other up.
Yeah.
You guys keep discussing this amongst yourself. I gotta step away for a quick second.
It's another thing too where you go to 8 teams, half the NFL is making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And that also kind of takes away from, making the playoffs.
People thought that about the MLB, but it kind of worked out this year. Yeah, you got good matchups in the wild card round.
Listen, you're gonna get good matchups, but it's just a thing where, you have a 50-50 shot of making the playoffs.
Yeah, so
if half, that kind of it makes it lose its luster a little.
Just a couple years ago, the Giants would have benefited from having a losing record getting into the playoffs.
Well, the thing is, it does work out. Like now, yes, the NFC South was garbage this year, but there's been situations where the team with the losing record that won their division wins the wild card game. I mean, we saw it with the Seattle beating the Saints. They were a 7-9 team, and they beat New Orleans, a far superior team. So I think there is merit to every dog has his day, and it makes for some interesting football. I really liked the way it was set up when we first kind of started watching. 6 teams make it, the top 2 seeds get the bye, and then everything kind of just falls into place.
I'll be honest with you. I hated the 2-bye system.
But why?
It makes no sense. Only because then it makes the 1 seed irrelevant. I know you get home field throughout, but it makes it nothing. To me, either only the 1 seed gets the bye or nobody gets the bye.
But
I didn't like the top 2 getting. To me, it didn't make sense.
I would rather than have an even amount of teams make the playoffs versus the 7. However they would do it for it to make sense. If you're going to only give one team the bye, that's fine. But in a way, I feel like it becomes like clunky. Because it's like, okay, all right, so this like the 7th seed will play the 2, and then whoever advances, like it's so there's like almost there's very seldom a chance that the 7 or the lowest seed would really ever face the 1. It almost would never occur.
Well, no, they have to win one game, and then they play the 1.
Right, but it would be different if like it's more even. So you have the 2 first and 2nd seed both have the bye, and then the rest of the teams they duke it out. However it falls, it provides more opportunity for the lower seeds to make it to the higher round versus maybe the sample size is too small. Maybe if they continue doing this for a few years.
But that's another thing too. Is I mean, should a lower seeded team almost be? I don't want to say rewarded, but given a fair shot where the teams that finish the 1-2 seed, I mean, they earn that spot. Like, why should the lower seeded team be given a so-called easier matchup? I don't know. I personally, I never liked the two buys. It makes the 1 seed more coveted. Like you want the bye. Well, you may not be able to sit out week 18. You may have to actually play and play hard to get that spot if you want the bye.
Well, and this year was a little wacky because the unforeseen thing with Damar Hamlin getting injured. We never knew how that Bengals Bills game would have played out. Buffalo wins. They're the 1 seed. So like this was a totally unforeseen thing. But because of this playoff format, it created all these kind of problems for the playoffs just because of how seeding was. Like there's no way to recoup that game, and it's just kind of like, well, sorry, you guys missed out on the chance for the 1, and then they're creating these neutral site scenarios. It seemed like it could have been avoided, with even perhaps another team.
Well, I mean, would that have happened that way anyway?
I don't know.
I mean, if 1 and 2 seeds get the bye, I mean, then those 2 are the teams fighting for at least the Bills were fighting for the 1. Like, it's still not as clean. Like,
I guess I would wonder though, like, so that team that would have hypothetically been the 1 seed, lost out because of what happened. They didn't even get an opportunity to have a bye, which probably would have benefited from. And if there was the 2 teams that had the bye, they would have, even though they lost that game, meaning like they didn't have that game to play, they still would have had the bye. Because there would have been 2 spots available.
Mm-hmm.
That would just be my take on it, I guess.
Well, it's wrong.
I don't know. To me, it seemed very clean when we were kind of growing up. Everything just made sense. I don't know.
The other way, I mean, it'll never happen because they're never going to reduce the games, but make it 5 teams. 4 division winners, one wild card, 1 seed gets the bye, and make it hard to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
but they're not going to do that because every league
they never will because it's less games. Like I understand all that, but I mean, realistically, it shouldn't be easy to make the playoffs.
Because the MLB was getting a lot of flack for how hard it would make the playoffs.
Which is stupid.
I agree, but it benefited.
I mean, really, like again, like if that's the way the league ran, then yeah, I know, like Giants will make the playoffs this year and whatnot, but it shouldn't be easy to make the playoffs.
It's totally different between the 2 leagues, anyways, because where in football you get a bye and it benefits you. We saw both teams, besides the Astros, who had the byes in the MLB, they struggled really hard to get out of it.
Yeah,
Baseball's a tough game to take that by.
yeah, I agree. It just
Like you saw
Baseball
it. Like,
is such a rhythmic game.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely
That's
you
a
need that.
tough thing.
like,
I mean, you see it the
it's like
same
you-
like in hockey in the play, like when teams get that time off. Maybe not even the bye, but hockey series, it's all best of 35 series, so they take forever, and a team can end up with like a solid week off. That, yeah, it sounds nice, but now, your whole routine is kind of shot.
right? Was it only the Astros that made it out of the division winners? Am I right? They got the bye.
I think so. Without looking it up, I don't know for sure, but that
Yeah,
seems
I don't remember.
Yeah, I
to
know
be
the
honest, man.
Dodgers got bounced by the Padres,
Yep.
and then the Yankees lost to the Guardians. Is that right? No, Yankees beat the Guardians.
Yeah, Yankees lost to
Houston,
the Astros.
but the Yankees did not look good in that series because of that time off, in my opinion.
No, I'm telling you, the bye in baseball. I mean, of course it's always you're like, all right, I get some time to, get healthy, the whole thing. But baseball is too rhythmic for that. You got a guy that's hitting hot. You don't want him to have a week off.
Yeah, I mean, you just see that during the regular season. That's why, like, there's certain guys that, like, oh, he splits time with someone, and then it's like, well, why is he sucking? Like, well, he kind of needs to be in the lineup every day.
I guess like devil's advocate too. Like it could go the opposite way, where if you got a couple guys slumping, then yeah, that week off could be their reset. But typically, it's the other way around.
Well, and it's not just baseball. It's really it's all three major American sports outside of football. Because in football, they're so accustomed to having several days off, where like the rhythm thing isn't really a factor. But you even see it in basketball. Like you see it a lot of times where a team will come in and a player will, like a 6 seed is playing a 3 seed, and the 6 seed will beat the 3 seed because a player on the 6 seed is shooting 58% from 3 and is, getting 38 points a game over the course of the series, and they sweep them 4-0, and then they get 5 days off because the rest of the playoffs keep going, and then they go up against the 2 seed the next week, and the player is shooting 20% from 3.
Yeah,
And you do the same thing with like goaltenders. There's goaltenders that they shut out. They let in 1 goal out of 48 attempts on average over the course of 5 games in the playoffs, and then they end up smoking this team 4-1. But the team that they're going to play next goes the full 7 games, and then when they come back, the first game, the goalie that was just on fire gives up 3 goals on 10 shots, and it's because his rhythm was all fucked up. It's those 3 sports really that rhythm kind of like the being like on a hot streak really means something. Whereas like in the NFL, that's just like it's like jargon. It's not real.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
because in the NFL, the NFL is more like rest is more important than like keeping a rhythm, because just like how much more high speed collision it is.
Yeah, and you tend to just kind of do the same thing every week. Like after Sunday, Monday you watch film, Tuesday is the day off, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is or Wednesday, Thursday regular practice. Friday is the walkthrough. Saturday is the travel day, unless you're home. And you just do that for 17 weeks. It's just like, especially if you play a Thursday or Monday night, that's your week every week.
Right. Well, like, and we talked about it, Kendall, you and I talked about it, where it's like I liked San Francisco so much more than the Cowboys in that game, just from the standpoint of the Cowboys went to Washington, played a game, came home, then traveled to Tampa, then came home, then had to travel to San Francisco. San Francisco hasn't traveled since January 5th. All their players have been sleeping in their own beds. Yeah, they go home every single night. Their practice is at their facility. They take the route that they want to take to practice every day. They can, on the day before the game, they can show up at 10 so everybody can wake up and have a breakfast and get a pre-stretch in at home if they want or whatever, and then come to practice, whereas like the Cowboys have to take advantage of the facilities and the time frame that they're working with.
Yeah, totally.
And that stuff difference in postseason play. It makes a huge difference.
Move all the games to London for playoffs.
There you go.
Just ruin everything.
I like it, Souls.
Every game starts at 8 a.m.
Wake up with football.
Every game starts at 8 a.m. and they're all full 60-minute four-quarter games in a best-of-3 series, all played over the course of one day.
Man, it'd be a lot of injuries.
Kendall said that like he wouldn't wake up at 8 a.m. for every playoff football game.
Oh, no, I would. I was just spoofing on the commercial.
But guys, here, I'm ready. From the Riddler collection.
Start the game. I'm enjoying a Pilsner Quell.
Good callback.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Dick.
Yeah, Dick Vermeil.
Knew it was going to be said.
It's so funny.
It's not.
It is.
You're the only one laughing.
No, Klaus was laughing in the episode.
I would say that's usually the tell of a funny joke is when you're the only one that'll laugh at it.
Yeah.
And I like how Kendall's argument for why it was funny was that a cartoon fish thought it was funny.
Yeah, on a show that's not that funny.
It's a pretty funny show. I mean, it's definitely on the lower tier compared to the other McFarlane products, but...
So you're saying it's below Cleveland show?
You know, I overlooked the Cleveland show. I would say above.
I hate American Dad. I don't find it funny.
Well, I don't think Seth MacFarlane's worried.
We should be.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
Is this player a defensive tackle?
What player?
The guest player.
I just wanted to see what I was going to say. This player did play defensive tackle. I should have said this before, but like I would hope I'm hoping that you guys try to use the honor system and don't like look stuff up on your phones. But I was thinking.
But I am running down the defensive tackle thing. Because I will forget.
Just asking because I don't know if it was already said. Is this a current guy?
This is not a current guy. He is retired.
Okay. I was going to say something dumb to be funny, but I didn't want to lose my guess.
Are you going to guess Aaron Donald?
No.
Come on, Kendall. Ask your question.
Yeah, don't say the funny thing. You don't have to ask a question now. Don't fall to peer pressure.
Yeah, I don't have my question prepared yet. Besides, that's my quarterback.
Could you say it with more tier?
Yeah, it's my quarterback.
That's right. That's a bad tier.
Well, I mean, come on.
That's my quarterback.
All right, yours was not better than mine. I'm just saying.
It was way better than yours.
Yeah.
They call me the Shakespeare of the group.
Yeah, because of that weird thing you wear around your neck.
That is his
What?
neck.
Fat?
No, I mean, really, my joke had no basis. I was just lucky to get one laugh.
Ow.
Is Massey dead?
I don't know.
Yes.
He had to bring the broth to a boil.
I'll give you guys some free hints here. His hand span is 10 inches. He stands 6 foot, and he's got a 4.85 40-yard dash.
I know who it is.
Well, if there was one person that would.
I gotta be honest with you. I'd be kind of bummed if Massey really did know it based off of that. Massey would be like, I wrote a whole thesis statement on hand span versus 40-yard dash splits.
If anyone was gonna.
Massey
It'd be
would.
Kyle.
He would have Best Buy do it.
He is Best Buy, so he would do it.
There you go.
You know, I was thinking earlier
Can't argue with
today.
that logic.
Remember when we first started the show and we wanted to write articles, and that lasted 2 weeks?
Hey, I wrote a really good article.
I'll say I wrote one.
No,
I wrote one too.
I'm saying we.
Our editor quit.
Well, I was just saying we had this plan to be writing articles every week, and just we didn't. But if you go onto our Facebook page, be sure to check those out. You might have to dig for a while, but they're there.
Our editor quit the show, man.
I don't even remember what my article was about.
I don't know. All I know is that me and Massey are quitting the podcast and we're starting getting sports with drink.
I'm in.
And you know, our editor never even quit. He just stopped showing up.
Isn't that new thing called quiet quitting?
Oh, my bad.
He's coming back, man.
He just went out from.
I don't think he is.
He's had a broken hand.
I'll be back when we make it big.
Hey, listen, Kyle, if you want to convince him, I've asked him several times, and you know he's pretty lukewarm about it.
Lukewarm.
His hands aren't ready. You know, he broke them.
What?
It's a bad joke. Hey, don't worry about it.
No, Kyle, we will worry about it because that's how I feel every show.
Yeah, but you're dumb.
It's actually a funny. I don't know what the stats. We'd have to look up the stats, but I found my article. I wrote the NFL sophomore spotlight, slump or star.
I do remember that one.
Yeah, and this was a very long, in-depth article. I remember I worked like 5 days on this. All right, let's see. I don't know what the stats after the year after were. These were obviously their rookie stats. So number one was Carson Wentz, quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. In 2016, he threw for 3,782 yards, 16 touchdowns, 14 picks, 62% completion, 150 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and 14 fumbles. And I predicted that his sophomore year status would be a star.
Who was this you wrote that about?
Carson Wentz.
I mean, you weren't wrong.
He just got hurt that year, right? He played really well and got hurt.
Was that his MVP year the next year?
I think so.
Yeah.
The Eagles front office did all the right things to help Wentz take the next step as their franchise quarterback, signing 2-time Super Bowl champion and former Detroit Lion LeGarrette Blount.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a Lions
Also
Super Bowl champ.
Corey Smith and Alshon Jeffrey. All right, let's see. That was number 2. 3,600 yards, 23 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 68% completion, 282 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns, 9 fumbles. And I gave him a star status for 2017.
Hey, Paul.
Prediction-wise. What?
I want to ask a question about this player, but I don't want it to count as my answer, so feel free to say you're not going to answer it. I don't think it's going to give anything away. It's just going to tell me if I should even bother with this. Will I know who this player is?
Yes.
Okay.
So, we're going based off memory. I'm not looking anything up. If somebody else wants to, they can. But I would say the star status for Dak Prescott for his sophomore year would be more accurate than wrong. I mean, I don't know if he had I don't remember him having an abysmal second year.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
It was really bad till 2 years ago.
All right, number 3 was Hunter Henry, 478 yards on 36 receptions for 8 touchdowns and 1 fumble. I predicted slump.
That guy was pretty good on my fantasy team last year. Remember, Kendall?
I think that was more than a year ago.
My last year, I said this might be the trickiest of the sophomore debates going into 2017. He's 6'5" and is a viable target down the field, but the Chargers' offense won't lack options in the passing game. With a throw-happy quarterback who makes haphazard decisions, with receiving options like Allen, Benjamin, Williams, and Gates, as well as receiving back Melvin Gordon, the young Chargers tight end will surely be fighting for targets every game.
So you weren't wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember killing Antonio.
He had a lot. He had more yards but 4 less touchdowns.
Okay. Number 4 was Robert Kelly, the Washington Redskins running back. 704 yards.
That guy.
704 yards, 6 touchdowns, 12 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown. I predicted slump.
Hey, Paul.
I don't even remember who that is, so I'm going to go with...
I was going to say, I'm going to go ahead and say you were right on that one.
Yes, Massey?
Can I pitch a question?
Sure.
Was this player a Patriot?
No.
Damn. All right.
What a waste of a question, Massey.
I thought it could have been.
It's all right.
Listen,
We're still
so you figured you do the math a little bit. You got to take.
Yeah, you got 29 other
We gotta
teams
take-
to figure out.
You got to take some kind of overlap, possibly, to say a 2-time Super Bowl champ in that time frame.
Kendall's definitely waiting for you guys to try to guess before he asks his yes or no question.
And there goes that strategy.
I'm not answering until after that, Rat.
Number 5 is Jordan Howard. 1,313 yards, 6 touchdowns, 29 receptions for 298 yards and a touchdown. I predicted sophomore status of star. I think he was pretty good as a Bear all the way through. They kind of gave up on him because they wanted a more receiving back.
Who was it that came behind him?
Tariq Cohen.
Was it so? Then who was before Howard? What was that guy's name?
Uh,
It was the guy after Forte.
but before Howard,
I'm trying to remember. I know who it is.
Something Jeremy?
Oh,
Langford?
Jeremy Macklin.
What was his name?
Jeremy Macklin.
No, he was a receiver.
there was a
No.
there was a Langford.
Jeremy Langford was there, but Kadeem Carey was pretty good. But it was Matt Forte was the reason they drafted Jordan Howard because Matt Forte left. Matt Forte's last year as a Bear was 2015. Jordan Howard was a rookie in 2016.
There's Kadeem Carey and Jeremy Langford.
Yeah,
I remember Jeremy Lang because he was kind of like breaking out ish. And they brought in Howard.
Well, but Matt Forte played as a Bear the year before Howard.
Correct.
Forte was a Bear until 2015. Then he went to the Jets, and then that's why they drafted Howard.
Did you know Jordan Howard played 2 games for the Saints this year?
Yeah, I thought about picking him up. I do every time he plays.
He got 1 yard.
Based off
I did not know that.
based off my fantasy year, I probably did pick him up.
He did have 1 yard this year.
Are we only limited to one guess for this?
Yes, one guess and then you're eliminated. You guys can decide after everybody guesses. If nobody gets it, if you guys can go rapid fire, it's up to you. I'll let you decide at the end.
I
the
meant
last
questions. Like, you can only ask one question.
Oh yeah, it's just one yes or no question.
All right.
Because I gave you guys a bunch of hints. We'll see how it goes after everyone guesses.
All right, I will ask a question.
All right, go ahead.
Did this player play in both conferences?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you say defensive tackle or nose tackle?
Defensive tackle.
Did anyone else think Kendall's question was going to be, can I have another beer?
Would have been hilarious.
Number 6 on the list was wide receiver Michael Thomas. 1,137 yards on 92 receptions for 9 touchdowns. I predicted slump. I have a feeling that one was wrong.
Well, believe it or not, that's the last time he played.
Let's see what
this year.
Michael Thomas stats. Well, I think like the next year was when like he broke the all-time receptions record. 2017. Yeah, he had a pretty good year. 1,200 yards, 104 receptions. So I was wrong on that one. Number 7 was Joey Bosa, 41 tackles, 10.5 sacks. I put sophomore status as a star. Let's see, Joey Bosa, where are you? Here you are. 2017, he played in all 16 games, 4 forced fumbles, 12.5 sacks. I wouldn't say star, but not bad.
Producing.
Number 8, cornerback for the New York Giants, Eli Apple. 51 tackles, 7 pass deflections, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble. I predicted star. Mock.
He was not that great.
There you go. Number 9 was Keanu Neal from the Falcons. I predicted nothing apparently because it's blank. It's nice. Oh, number 10. Here we go. Jalen Ramsey. I predicted star. I mean, he's been pretty good ever since he came in the league, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. The honorable mentions. Here we go. Noah Spence from the Bucks, star. I think that's wrong. I don't know who that is. Safety Sean Davis from the Steelers, slump.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yep. DeForest Buckner from the San Francisco 49ers, star.
Yep.
You were right
pretty
about
good.
that one.
Sterling Shepard from the Giants, star, if healthy.
It's pretty spot on.
Yeah. Joe, is it Thuney or Tooney?
Tooney.
Oh, it's Thunsey.
Oh, Joe Thunsey from New England, I put star. Deion Jones from the Falcons, I put star. And then my real big swing and miss here, Tyreek Hill, slump.
Hey, not that bad, man.
He goes my real swing and a miss.
I did pretty good, though. I'll give you that.
A couple guys in there that I don't remember. Like that Joe Kelly fellow.
Robert Kelly.
Whatever the hell his name is.
And Joe Kelly's pitching for the White Sox. You know who that is. He's the guy who did the frowny.
Who's the other Washington running back? Dante Hightower.
Alfred Morris.
There's a name I haven't heard in a while.
He was hanging on by a thread with the Giants.
Actually played decent for the Giants.
This season?
No.
I was about to say, what the fuck?
Mock
Either
and
last year or the year before.
Mock and Massey.
Yes.
What?
This guy wrote an article on who he thinks is the best from all the starter Pokemon across the Pokemon games. He wrote who he thinks is the best first, second, and third stage for grass, water, and fire. Do you guys care to see what he guessed? What
Am I
he
about to
said?
be mad?
I don't know. Maybe. You ready?
Okay.
So he said the best first stage grass type was Bulbasaur.
Okay.
He said the best middle stage grass type was Bayleaf. And then he said the final stage grass type was Sceptile.
Wrong.
Is
It's
that
Weed Cat.
Oh, Venusaur.
Best final stage is Weed Cat, hands down.
I don't know what that is.
I think that's the new one.
It's the new one.
I disagree.
Best water. Do you have an argument for somebody else over Sceptile?
I mean, I'd probably have to think about it, but I'm cool with it.
All right. Best water first stage was Squirtle. Best second was whatever Oshawott evolves into.
DeWatt.
DeWatt, and the best final stage was Greninja.
Not a fan of those, but I'll let it go.
You're not fine with the second and third one, but you're fine with Squirtle, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. As long as we're on the same page there.
I personally think my second favorite, or my favorite second stage is Wartortle. Wartortle is my favorite starter. Like,
yeah,
evolution
and
out of them all.
then Blastoise over Greninja. But it could be, yeah. And then for fire, it's Chimchar, whatever Scorbunny's evolution is.
Yeah.
And Charizard.
I mean, I like Torchic as the starter. Then Quilava as my second.
Trying to run through. I mean, for the most part, those are fine.
I mean, my favorite would be Tapig. Just because.
Fuck Tapig.
Hey, fuck you, man. Tapig's awesome. He's not good. He's just cool looking.
It's the only good looking thing out of that entire evolutionary line.
Clearly, you haven't seen what Kyle evolves into.
Oh, it's a Tepig.
No, Kyle's that little like happy smiling fighty type into the like sumo guy.
This conversation.
Wait, say again?
The fighting type like yellow guy that's always smiling, and then he evolves into like the
Oh,
big sumo.
Makuhita.
Yeah,
All I heard was
Evolves into
Mojito.
Hariyama.
it even sounds like Mojito.
That's so funny.
Hey, Kyle, at least he's from Gen 3, which is objectively the best generation.
I don't care.
Well, you like the nickname Mojito, and you know it.
I have a guess, and I don't care if I'm wrong.
All right, go ahead.
Is it Hello Inada?
Oh,
It is not Hello Inada.
I was going to guess him, but I don't think he has 2 Super Bowls.
that's exactly who I was gonna guess.
Paul, this is not my guess. The one I was going for with the Patriots was Vince Wilfork, because I know he only won 2.
Yeah, but he played with 2 different teams, man.
Yeah, so did this player.
I didn't know Vince Wilfork played for another team.
He played for
Yeah,
the
he
Texans
played for
for a couple
Houston.
years.
Yeah, but other conferences, though.
So get this: he played for Houston, but somehow maintained his Big Y endorsement,
Yeah.
which bothers me to no end.
Listen, they were moving subs.
Which isn't in Houston.
Oh, it makes me so mad.
Yeah, Kyle loves Big Y, and that's why. Kyle, have you ever been to a Big Y?
Yeah, I took a big dump there once. Who was I with?
I thought he was just
Mock.
saying that because of Big Y.
I think I was with Mock. We went to Five Guys, and I couldn't hold it anymore.
Oh, yeah, he ran across the parking lot.
So wait, any reason you didn't use the bathroom at Five Guys?
I don't know what
Now,
happened.
why does that surprise you?
What do you mean, why does this surprise me? I could totally picture Kyle going into the Five Guys bathroom and shitting with the door open on the phone with Kendall trying to yell to you about his order.
Oh, but what I mean is, like, and he's like, well, I kind of got to shit, but I'll be all right. And then we got to the parking lot, and he ran across the parking lot.
Checks out.
They played a
That's right,
softball game.
It's one of the... No, there's no way we went to Five Guys before a softball game.
That's a bad move.
We did something.
The worst thing I think I ever did before a softball game is we went to Knuckleheads and ate 2 red eyes. Like, yeah, let's go play a game now.
2 sausages in, 1 falling out when you're around third.
Man, I thought that was a good guess.
Kendall, you got a bracket for us?
I do.
That was a good guess.
I mean, Kyle, that's exactly who I was going to say.
Kyle, I'm not saying I never said it was a bad guess. It's just not the right answer.
Nah, I thought that was the right answer.
All right, hold on. I'm just going to
Because
grab
he
a
had
pen.
2 rings, and he played for the Lions. Damn. Damn.
Damn it, damn it, damn it.
Yeah, basically, he won one with Flacco, and he won one. When else did the Ravens win?
No, Holody not only won 1 Super Bowl.
Whatever. They're all the same people.
Well, Kyle, you might get a second chance if everybody guesses wrong.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't have another guess.
You will with the final hint.
All right. Get it wrong, fellers.
Kendall, bracket?
Yes, sorry. I grabbed a pen and then it wasn't working. Like, son of a bitch. Of course I get up and grab one that doesn't work. But it is working.
That's why I use mechanical pencils, baby.
Yeah, that's a good move. All right, so I have here a bracket of things that cause stress and anxiety. So I kind of borrowed some stuff. I think Barstool Sports did a similar thing a little while back. So I borrowed some stuff from there, and just like stuff from my own personal life, and that may fit the bill for you guys as well. So we're gonna go through here, and I had Rebecca.
One.
Honorable mention. Rebecca put them in order, so I didn't put them together by like 1 versus 10 because I didn't really know how to pair it, so I had to do it at random. So we'll go through the list and I'll pair them up right now. Okay, so I gave this just as the number 1 rank. You ever see like online, they always kind of put this down as like the number 1 fear. I have public speaking, versus someone borrowing your phone or computer to do something?
I'm gonna vote for someone borrowing my phone or computer to do something, and it's not about the anxiety of them like stumbling onto something. I hope they don't. It's more so of like them screwing something up. Like I deal with that almost on a daily basis because we only have one iPad in the house, and it's the iPad that I have from work. And there's a lot of times where I'll have like an Excel spreadsheet for like updated pricing open like in as one of the apps, or I'll have like an order in a system that like I need to send for the next day. So I'll put it in and kind of like order purgatory. And then like Amelia will grab it to use it to watch like YouTube videos or something. And I'm always like fearful, like, oh my God, she's going to delete she's going to close out the Excel spreadsheet and it's not going to auto save. And like it's more so like that. Public speaking, I don't care so much about. That's, I mean,
yeah.
There might be like if I were to go up in front of a crowd of people I don't know and talk about something I wasn't comfortable with, I would have nerves. But once I got up there, like I have the personality for that, so it would kind of take over. I wouldn't say I'd do a good job, but
yeah, I just included the public speaking because it seems to be like on every list all the time, like things people are afraid of. But Paul, I'm with you. I'm someone using my phone, but for the reason that you said you didn't, like my phone just has shameful things on it. I just don't want people going through my stuff.
Kendall, it's nothing we don't already imagine isn't on there.
Yeah,
every
I know. Time someone picks up his phone, he's like, God, don't touch my Instagram.
Yeah, please, just leave it be.
Probably the phone.
Can you repeat the question? It kind of cut up.
Public speaking or having someone use your phone or computer for something.
What gives you like more anxiety?
Oh, public speaking.
Really?
That's the fucking worst.
This guy's got a pretty clean computer then.
Oh, but, you know, it is what it is.
Braver man than I.
Nasty, did you put your vote in?
No, mine would be public speaking.
All right.
Well, I think the phone thing moves on, though, right?
Phone thing moves on. Yep, 3-2. Okay. Next we have watching your team in a close game versus reading out loud in class.
Reading out loud in class.
Watching my team in a close game.
The sports team, 1,000%.
Nothing gives me more... Well, that's not true, but very few things give me more excited than that. That's why I fucking hate sports.
All right, so we got...
I probably had more anxiety during the Cowboys-49ers game than I would reading in front of a billion people.
So we got two...
I don't even care for either of those two teams. Like, it's close to always gives me anxiety.
Well, listen, I know what you're saying, like, because... people are like listening and they're following along for the most part. So if you screw up, everyone just knows it.
Mm-hmm.
Today, Junior.
So we got 2 for watching your team, 1 for reading out loud in class.
There was 3 teams?
It was 3 teams? I didn't hear mock.
Mine was the team.
Teams. I also picked the team.
Oh, man. I was going to keep that going, but I would have thrown it in last.
Okay. Then we have sports performance anxiety versus like hosting like a holiday at your house or just like a party or something, making sure everything is cool.
Hosting the holiday.
Yeah, hosting a holiday. My dad turns into fucking a nightmare.
What was the one besides hosting a holiday?
Just like sports performance, like playing in a game.
Oh, that. I actually enjoyed, like, hosting parties and doing that shit, so.
Yeah, I would say, like, I don't know. It's tough, because, like, when I host stuff, like, I don't know. I don't know if anxious is the right word for what I get.
It's a tough one for me. Like, I for sure have very bad sports performance anxiety, just in general. I mean, even playing, like softball, it would just, like...
Yeah. We were all there.
It killed me. And you know what? It's not even like making a fool of myself because that doesn't matter. I'm not afraid of that. It's more about like letting other people down.
I watched you fall out of a batter's box.
Well, that had nothing to do with that. That was just lack of coordination.
Guy was still safe at first.
Yeah, that was the best army crawl that Wallingford has ever seen.
There was 3 hits in that game. Me, Handy, and Kendall.
I'm going to say sports for this reason. And if you guys don't think it counts, then I'll go with the holiday thing. Because hosting a party does have some anxiety to it. Even if it's not like the main thing I feel. But I played like competitive basketball from the age of 6 all the way until I was 22. And like I would definitely get nervous before a game. But the thing, like, too, was like I had like a pregame routine, and it did change over the years. But like, if I couldn't do that routine, like I was like so like superstitious, which I think is kind of like hand in hand with anxiety. So like that's how I look at it. So I'm gonna go with that. And if you guys think that's bogus, I'll just change my answer.
No, that works. So that was that.
If you can't tell, the biggest anxiety is approval of my friends.
So do we have 3 for sports, 2 for holiday?
That's why I love Kyle, because Kyle just accepts you as you are, no matter what. Not that you guys don't accept me no matter what, but like, you know, like I could show up at Kyle's front door like with like dog shit in my mouth and just be like, dude, and he'd be like, you want to play 2K?
Like, I just did that.
Well, I love you, Kyle.
Raheem.
All right, so I think sports performance moved on.
Okay.
All right, then we got having to poop at a party versus leaving a voicemail.
Oh,
It
first
used
one.
to be poop. It used to be poop. Not anymore.
First one.
I'll say leaving a voicemail.
I mean, I just don't do that.
But you never had to leave a voicemail like for work?
No.
Neither of those really give me anxiety. I would say, I don't know. I would say the voicemail, just from the standpoint of like, pooping at a party will give you anxiety, but the anxiety is more rooted in the idea of not wanting to be embarrassed. Like the embarrassment is more of the emotion versus the anxiety, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like either way, it doesn't like really like matter. I would say anxiety. I would say the voicemail because, like, you know, I don't know. Like I'm leaving a voicemail and it's like, oh, you know, like man, I just left a voicemail for that account. I hope it didn't sound too gay.
I don't know why that made me laugh.
I'll go voicemail. I think the voicemail because I leave a lot of voicemails because I would say on average, I would say my over under for voicemails a day is probably 5.5. Because like I've like, you know, like with my job, like, you know, I deal with like a lot of different departments that coincide with how my job works. So like today, for example, I had to call somebody in like the pricing department and they were on their lunch break. So I had to leave them a voicemail. And it's like, you know, like I know what I'm going to say to them when I talk to them, but I don't have what I'm going to say to them in a voicemail scripted because it's like not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like more candid when I know I'm talking to the person versus when I'm leaving something for them to hear. Because like I'm a person that like swears pretty openly. So like if I'm talking to somebody at work and like I'm comfortable with them, like my boss, for example, I'll be like, yeah, like this guy like was like fucking bitching about the price of this thing. But if I'm leaving a voicemail, like I'm like, oh, I can't say fucking in the voicemail. You know what I mean?
Listen here, bitch.
Yeah. Fuckface, why didn't you answer your phone? Although, but on the flip side, I called Kendall like a week ago and he didn't answer, and I pretty much sung the entire first verse of Copacabana.
It was nice. I liked it.
Very off key.
I don't know. It sounds like you didn't like it.
No, I did like it.
You know what's funny is
there for it.
he didn't even text me. He had Rebecca text me to tell me he didn't like it.
Actually, that was the day I left my phone home. Pissed me off.
I'd called Kendall twice because during work like Mock can't really field phone calls while he's working. Kyle's like sometimes he'll talk to you, but he's a hit and miss. You know, Massey, same thing. Like I think you're more hit and miss. Like sometimes you can talk, sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Is that fair, Mass?
Yeah.
Right. So like Kendall's the same way. He's hit and miss too, just like I am. But like with Kendall, like Kendall and I are in the same boat where like sometimes we have really long commutes during our day. Like like tomorrow, there's going to be a point in my day where I have to go. I'm going to start my day in Milford, and I'm going to have to go all the way down to Darien. How do you say it?
Yeah, Darien.
Like, it's going to be a 20-minute drive. So like sometimes like I'll just like especially like on Mondays before the show, like I'll call Kendall on the commute and be like, "Hey, what are we going to talk about tonight?"
Hey, we can call me tomorrow. I got Pittsfield and Schenectady.
Yeah, I'm not going to call you.
Sounds good, man.
You gotta drive to Schenectady?
I do. I do Albany every other week and Pittsfield every other week.
Oh my god. Isn't that like
That's
a
why I'm
4-hour drive?
Wait. Hold on. Mark, what time do you go to work in the morning? This is so off topic.
I mean, lately I've been getting in for 6:30.
What time do you wake up?
5:30.
Oh my god, why am I not calling you every morning on Thursday? Get ready for a phone call, brother. I leave my house at 5 a.m. I'm going to start calling at 5:30 on my drive to Norwalk. I'm going to start ringing you up. Like, hey, bitch, I know you just woke up. Let's talk about fucking disc golf.
It's funny because I know how to answer, like, hello. Like, you'd start the disc golf and I would talk.
Yeah. Honestly, now that I think about it, the times I've had to get in the car, like this week, total's going at 5, so I have to be in my car no later than 4:20. The amount of times I haven't called you, not that early, but like the normal commute, you or Kyle, it blows my mind because I know you wake up really early and I know Kyle goes to bed really late. There's a pretty good chance if I call Kyle at 4 a.m, he's still up.
Yeah.
Kyle, what are you doing? Laying in bed, trying to fall asleep. What are you doing? Watching Criminal Minds.
Yeah. I have that sleep apnea.
All right, next. No, that's not how it's not sleep apnea, but
I know what it is.
Sounds like what you sleep vocabulary.
So, after all that, what did we pick? Poop or voicemail?
I said voicemail. Massey said poop, right?
Yeah.
Kyle said it used to be poop, so I don't know what that means. Is it now voicemail?
It's now voicemail.
It's now voicemail. I think it's funny that Kyle is approaching 30 years old and has yet to have a voicemail box set up for when you do call him, because I would leave him so many voicemails.
That's the reason why I don't have it.
I want to, honestly, next time I see you, I'm probably going to take your phone and set up your voicemail box just so I can leave you voicemails.
All right,
so we got 2 for voicemail, 1 for poop. Mock said poop, right?
Already dump.
Yeah, the dump. All right,
I mean, I pretty much never leave a voicemail.
It's up to you.
See, I'm not afraid of voicemails. I just leave them bad ones all the time. I'll go poop.
All right.
My only anxiety is like clog the toilet.
Oh, Kyle, you just wait. Next one we got to end off this division. Can't find your phone versus taking like a big test. Like,
Can't find your phone.
Can't find my phone.
Yep.
I just know I'm gonna fail the test anyways.
Yeah, the test is like I either know the test thing. It's like I'm either getting a 95 or a 45. Like it's one or the other. I know going into it, it's pass or fail. Like it's like even tests where like I've been on the border. It's like I know I'm getting a 65 or a 55. Like it's not like like I don't really have that anxiety because it's like like, hey, like this test counts for 65% of your grade. Aren't you anxious? Like, no, because I didn't study, so I know I'm going to suck and probably fail the class. It's my own fault.
I say the lost phone.
Yeah, I mean,
not being able to find your phone sucks.
Yeah, and it's also
Kendall, if you vote differently, I invite you to remember Ham and Acid.
No. I was going to say that it's sort of the thing too. Like it's this era. Like maybe 15 years ago, I would say differently, but like now, like my phone is like the most important thing I own. Like,
yeah, that's where your Instagram freaking smut is.
That's why Ham and Acid, you were so worried about your phone. Someone's gonna go through my fucking Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, I worked very hard to cultivate that collection.
I wish we deleted it.
That's very mean-spirited of you.
It's mean, but it would have given you the opportunity to build it back up.
But let me ask you an honest question. I want the real answer.
All right.
Your dad is very technologically challenged, correct?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay. So your dad picks up your phone and he's playing with your phone, going through all your apps and stuff. Now, your wife has just recently sent you 5 scandalous photos, right? Like within the last 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your Instagram thing. Are you more concerned with him deleting your Instagram or finding those photos?
Oh, well, that.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Got my phone.
For some reason, I think that you would like have a discussion with your dad about it. Like, yeah,
listen, this part is cool. You don't go here.
Right. Kendall will just be like, yeah, this is why I want you to put. This is why I've been asking you for recessed lighting in the bedroom. Look at the fucking angle. All right, what's next? Does anybody have a guess, by the way, before we keep going? I don't want to keep anybody from guessing. If you don't have one, that's fine. We can keep going on the draft. That's or the bracket. That's fine.
And also, we can cut this. I have a bunch of these. Like, we can cut off at any time.
So figure you got about. Let's say you got about 5 more minutes to rip through the bracket, and then if we can always do a TBD if you want to just go through the first round, and we can continue it next week.
Yeah, we can do that. When I guess I got more, so I'll finish off the first.
Try to finish out the first round, and then we'll see where we're at time wise.
Okay.
Hey, when do I read the list that I made?
After the 5 minutes.
Right. Wait, we'll do this. This would be the last one of the first round right here.
Because I'm going to only give you guys about a minute or two to just like kind of like go at each other, just because it's like neither of you are going to change your list, so it's just going to be more of like a you're fucking stupid thing. But it'll create good content, because what's better than friends telling each other they fucking suck?
Oh, we're pretty good at
I
that.
got Kendall.
Yeah, we are really good at that, Kyle.
I think you said it the other day. We're so mean to each other.
Here's the thing. I've said it before. Like, I gave when the HBO Max put out the Friends reunion. I watched it because I had seen a lot of Friends as a kid, and I didn't care for it throughout my teenage years and my young adulthood. But my mom really liked the show, so I like knew about it. So like I watched it to see like kind of like where they're at now, because I was curious to see like how terrible Matthew Perry and Courtney Cox looked after their drug addictions, and they looked awful. And so I watched, and then I was like, you know what? Like now that I'm like closer to 30 than I am to 15, let me give Friends a shot as kind of like an adult in that same time frame as they were. Now, granted, it was a different time. They're talking like early or late 90s to early 2000s time frame. But let me give it a shot. And I watched it, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't, I'm not going to say it's the funniest sitcom, but I thought it was good. And, Mock and I talked about it. Like, I started enjoying it, and I watched it all the way through. And you're seeing more and more with a lot of these sitcoms like Parks and Rec and The Office and even older ones that I really enjoyed, like Seinfeld, Third Rock from the Sun, et cetera, et cetera. They're not showing up on traditional streaming services as much because there's so many streaming services now. Like The Office, you have to have Peacock now. Seinfeld's still on Netflix, but that'll probably run its course at some point. Like I loved Third Rock from the Sun, like that you can't find anywhere. So Friends is just on HBO Max, so I use that as like my background noise all the time now. So I've probably been through the series 4 times in the past year. And there's one episode where the girls are talking to the guys about like why it's better to be the other gender, and she was like, one of the girls was like, "You guys can be like so mean to each other and then be like best friends like 10 minutes later." I'm like, yeah, that's being a guy. That's the definition of being a dude. Because I tell you what, I could lay into Mike Mock right now about like anything. I could like shit on the Giants. I could even talk shit about his like marriage. And then tomorrow morning I could text him and be like, "Hey, you want to play Paige?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I'll meet you there at 8." And that's just what being a guy is all about. It's great.
Yeah.
I don't remember how this conversation started.
Yeah, me neither. The punchline is, I think it's so funny that most guys don't care about being butthurt while their biggest phobia is getting fucked in the butt. On to the bracket.
All right, last one for round one. Sort of kind of a repeat, but a little bit different. Late for work, but need to get gas versus getting called on for an answer in class.
Getting called on for an answer in class.
I was just say the first one's just kind of my life.
For me, it's the gas thing because I live off of like scheduled times for appointments because I only have so many hours in a day to do what I'm trying to do. Like I don't have a clock in, clock out like you guys do. Like my day goes as long as I need it to be. So like if I have a 10:30 appointment and it takes me 20 minutes to get there and I leave my house and I need gas, like now I'm pushing the time. So it's like I'm setting myself up for already being behind to start the day. The being called on for class, I mean, I'm a primo bullshitter, so that never bothered me.
I was also going to pick the gas one because I'm a notorious, like, I'll do it tomorrow. And I always screw myself basically every single time. And more so, both the cars, like they have the feature, like it tells you how many miles till empty. But at a certain point, for really no reason, around like the 40 miles till empty, it just stops telling you altogether. So it's just kind of like, hey, best guess, hope you make it.
Both the cars or like every car made after 2015?
Well, I only know these cars. I mean, I don't know if all new cars have that feature that just at a certain point they don't tell you anymore. I know the black Ford Edge we used to have would go as low as you possibly could. I brought that down to 2 miles till empty before, just for the sake of doing it.
My car, after 30, it just...
Okay, all right, so that's kind of what mine does.
But when I had the Explorer, that would run down, like you were just saying.
Newer cars, usually the way it works is like once you get to whatever the miles until empty is, when it stops registering, it means you're on your last gallon of gas.
Yeah.
It stops telling you so that you feel the pressure to go get gas.
Well, they do a good job.
There's, all the time, and Marissa gets so mad. It's because she'd be like, oh, you need to get... I was like, yeah, I don't want to, I don't feel like pumping gas right now, or whatever reason. Then I get up to go to work, and it's always the day, you're running like 3 minutes late in the car, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I'm good for like a couple of those a year.
Oh, a year? That I do it almost every week. Almost every week.
I say I do it at least once a week.
Yeah, I don't got to worry about that.
Yeah, we know.
Or do you?
So is that 3 for gas?
Yeah.
Massey, any opinion whatsoever?
No, those things really give me any kind of anxiety, so I'm going to sub out on that.
All right. Gas advances, and that will conclude round 1. Also, I have a guess.
No idea who this player is.
Neither do I at this point.
All right, I have a guess. The thing is, I don't know if he played for 2 teams, but I know he did win 2 Super Bowls and would probably fit the statistics bill. I'm going to go with Casey Hampton.
Incorrect.
That was my other guess, Kendall.
Damn.
Mark and Massey, venture a guess, and then I'll give you guys a last hint before you dive into your lists.
Kendall, he just seems like a Cardinal, doesn't he?
Well, he has to be. Anybody who played for Pittsburgh plays for Arizona.
I have no idea.
I don't even know where to begin with this.
Casey Hampton only played for the Steelers.
He was a lifer?
Yep. 2001 to 2012.
Oh.
So he also played 11 years.
Yeah, this was
he
tough.
He also only had 9 career sacks.
Yeah, I just had the 2 Super Bowls in mind.
It's just funny because it's like
BJ Raji.
BJ Raji, incorrect.
Good
I believe
guess,
BJ
though.
I believe BJ Raji only won one Super Bowl.
I think he was also only a Packer, but
No,
He went somewhere after.
no, he
Did
was only a Packer. But
I
actually,
think I know.
BJ Raji only played 6 years.
No, he never won a Super Bowl.
BJ Raji won a Super Bowl.
No, I'm talking about the guy I was thinking about.
He sacked Ben to get a Super Bowl.
I'm thinking of another guy.
Oh,
TJ Raji.
Oh man, yeah, I have no idea.
just venture a guess. Name a defensive tackle that's not active that has played in the last 25 years that you know has been to Super Bowls. And fits the criteria.
Name a Giants defensive tackle.
Yeah, or make a guy up. That's like the best thing to do.
Actually, there's no way that what is getting me is the sack note because or you said he's retired.
He is retired. Yep.
I think this guy's still playing now, so it can't be him. I want to say Pierre Paul, but I don't think it's him. No way he only has 22 and a half sacks.
Are you guessing Jason Pierre-Paul?
Yeah.
It is not Jason Pierre-Paul. All right. I'm going to give you guys 2 hints. And then we'll do our lists. You guys think about it during the lists. And then after we do the list, before we do our beer reviews, you guys can kind of free for all on who you think it is. Okay?
Deal.
All right. So, this player only played 8 years due to a devastating career-ending knee injury in the training camp after his last Super Bowl win. And then the second hint and the more helpful hint is this player, while should be known as a player by anybody who's been following football over the last 20 years, will be more known for his career as a broadcaster / NFL personality more so than his.
I think I might know it.
Yeah, I kind of think I feel like I know it too.
Well, we're going to do the list first, and then you guys can figure out how you want to fight it out for who gets to guess first. All right, so Kyle and Massey, you guys' list, top 5 most MVP-ish type players, non-quarterback, non-offensive line in the NFL. Massey, give it to me.
Hold on, I'm pulling mine back up.
And put it to music.
No.
Coward.
Kyle,
Kyle, do you have yours handy? Kyle?
He's got to go through his Rolodex to find it.
Kyle?
Kyle doesn't know what a Rolodex is.
Kyle?
Kyle's also not even on this podcast right now.
Kyle?
Somewhere
Kyle.
he's looking for a 9-volt battery.
Kyle. Souls. Oh.
I just kicked him to see if he'll notice.
He said, I'm talking.
No, you're not in the group. All right, now, Mock, you just respond with, we got Vito to take your place.
All right, well, since my competitor isn't here, why don't the other two go?
All right, so Kendall and Mock, very anticlimactically.
Kyle, talk.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Kyle, do you have your top 5 MVP type players, non-quarterback, non-offensive line?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead from 5 to 1.
All right, 5, I have Mark Andrews.
Okay.
He is the offense. We saw them not be able to score points when he was out.
Okay.
4, I have Michael Parsons. Best defensive player probably in that conference. 3, I have TJ Watt. He is the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Correction, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. 2, I have George Kittle. He's more than just a receiving threat. He's a hell of a blocker, team leader, and all that stuff. And want to have Derrick Henry because without him, they might not win a game.
Okay, interesting. I like it. All right, Massey.
Now, Paul, you said to take into account their entire careers up to this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Not just their play this last season.
Right.
Okay. Number 5, I have Travis Kelce, who has been the bread and butter of that Kansas City offense for 8 years now. Probably a little bit longer. Number 4, I have Derrick Henry. Like Kyle said, without him, you do not have an offense in Tennessee. Number 3, I accidentally just closed out. Sorry. Number 3, I had Christian McCaffrey, who has been the engine for a bunch of teams. By a bunch, I mean 2. But when he gets involved and carries the offense, it becomes just a different level. Whenever he's out of the game, it doesn't function the same. Number 2, I had TJ Watt, who I believe will become the 4th player to get 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards if he can stay healthy. And number 1, I have Aaron Donald.
Okay. I like that list a lot too. I'm not going to do this for Kendall and Mock's list just because you guys are pretty useless when it comes to this, to their list. But Mock and Kendall, do you guys care to give any sort of weigh in as to what you think about their lists? Just very briefly, 30 seconds.
Jesse, can you just run through yours? Just names.
Yeah, Travis Kelce, Derrick Henry. Motherfuck. Just doing that off memory, sorry.
I think McCaffrey was on there.
Yep. McCaffrey.
Watt and Donald.
Watt. Yep, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, I mean, just a name that I think should be there is Jefferson. I think without him, I mean, the Vikings are literally a 2-win team.
I just didn't think he had enough years.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, both lists. I mean, these are players that year in year out, barring injury.
30 seconds.
What's that?
30 seconds or less.
Barring injury, are always producing and are important to their team. So I think they're both pretty good lists.
One thing I really like about both your guys' lists is that you didn't shy away from including tight ends into it, which I think is a big deal. Because I would have Travis Kelce and George Kittle in my list. I would also have TJ Watt in my list. I would have Aaron Donald in my list, and then I would probably round it out just off the top of my head without really diving deep into it. I probably would have put Jalen Ramsey. That's the first player that comes to my mind. Outside of, I understand the value of Derrick Henry and what he is, and I like that both of you put him on there because I do think he's top 10. I'd have to really dive down. I think you guys both put together pretty equally compelling lists. I'm gonna give it to
Massey.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Massey on this one from the standpoint of Kyle. I think you strayed away from trying to stay away from bias, and you should have put, because TJ Watt would be my 1 over Aaron Donald.
I didn't have Aaron Donald.
Had more impact. I just think that TJ Watt I think he's just more valuable to what he contributes to his team than Aaron Donald was. Not that Aaron Donald wasn't important. I just think that defense was good enough to keep the Rams in some games if Donald wasn't there. I think other players would have stepped up. We see what happens when TJ Watt doesn't play, and it's not good. But your addition to Kittle, I thought was awesome. I think I would put Kittle over Kelce because Kelce is the most dynamic receiving tight end probably in NFL history when his career is said and done. But I was just saying this the other day. Kittle has the ability to replace Rob Gronkowski as the best blocking tight end of all time, and blocking is probably the most important job a tight end has, regardless of how good they are at catching the football. If they can't block, their usefulness really diminishes. And you see it a lot with Patrick Mahomes' his ability to have to scramble and whatever is because they don't have a tight end that can block like that. But I'm gonna give the edge to Massey just for the uptick on the TJ Watt, and I do like the Aaron Donald pick. I think Aaron Donald belongs in that top 5. And then real quick, Massey or Mock and Kendall, your 5 Connecticut beers, tastiest Connecticut beers. Kendall, take it away.
I had at the 5. I included the Ice Cream Man by Back East. At 4, I had Igor's Dream, which is a Russian Imperial Stout from Two Roads. I feel like CT doesn't have like a big love for stouts for whatever reason, but that always gathers a lot of attention. I got Fuzzy Baby Ducks from Nebco, Granola Brown from our friends at Black Hog. And at number 1, I included Too Juicy, just because it seems to be, Two Roads. I think the premier Connecticut brewery just by commercialism alone, and I feel like that beer has kind of fledged itself as to be kind of like sort of their flagship beer now.
Okay, Ma.
My list is the Workhorse Pilsner from Counterweight, the Hog Lager from Black Hog, the Granola Brown from Black Hog, Fuzzy Duck from Nebco, and Sea Hag from Nebco.
All right, just real quick because we're out of time. I'm gonna give the edge to Mike Mock because I think that the Sea Hag mentioned, I think that's more of like the basis, the Fuzzy Baby Ducks, the Igor Dream. Those are very good, tasty beers, but they're arguably not as tasty and as staple as like something like a Sea Hag or like a G-Bot, which is like a big deal for Connecticut, would put. So I'm going to give the slight edge to Mock on that. I think a big one that was, I think a couple big ones that were left out were Coriolis from Nebco, G-Bot from Nebco, and Road to Ruin from Two Roads, and
Mega Juicy.
No, I'm blanking on the other one.
Yeah, I would say not taking Sea Hag or G-Bot was
no filter from Thomas Hooker.
Yeah, I regret not. I chose Ice Cream Man kind of as a gamble, but I kind of regret not putting G-Bot or Sea Hag on my list.
So I had G-Bot, the Coriolis, and the Supernaut as like my honorable mentions.
Yeah, the Supernaut is really good.
Yes.
Naughty Nurse is good.
Also, best brewery in Connecticut. If you guys can find a way to get their beers, I think you have to go there to get them. There's no distribution, but Fox Farm Brewing, so good.
I've heard that place is pretty good.
Oh, it's out of this fucking world.
Where are they located?
They're in Salem.
I like us to try to get back into breweries if we can this year. I don't know how easy that is.
Get on it. Actually, no. Mock was our beer guy. Mock, get on it. All right. Do you guys have any? I don't care how you sugar rush it out here, but
I'll go first.
All right, Kyle's going first. Kyle
No.
Kyle claimed it. Mock, how do you think we should do this? How should I?
I think I should go first.
And I did the first guess.
Should we go in order of how people guessed?
Would it be funny if I just said the name?
Yes.
It's Booger McFarland.
Yeah.
That was my guess.
You guys all suck.
Was that your guess?
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing, because I didn't really come up with a plan. I didn't plan on giving you guys a second chance. I'm going to give Mock three GSWD points. I'm going to give the rest of you 1.
Fair.
You don't walk away empty-handed. You just walk away with less in your hands.
It is so funny because I know Kyle's so pissed.
I figured the TV thing was like gave it away.
I want Mock and an NBA one next week.
I thought the Booger McFarland thing, I thought it was a really good place to start with this version of the game because he only played half a season in Indianapolis and then got hurt and didn't play ever again.
I want
But-
Mock in the
But
five
that
best Kings of
season
all
turned
time.
into a Super Bowl.
Mhm.
So I just thought it was a good place to start.
No, that was a good one.
It's a name that everybody knows him from his playing career, but I think he's more famous for his analytical career in the Boogermobile.
Ruining Monday Night Football.
You know what's funny though? It's if you really listen to him talk about football, he's so much smarter than like the majority of people that do football stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that ESPN just really fucked him over with the Boogermobile.
Yeah,
It
that
is
was
funny though
ridiculous.
because he's on the Tony Kornheiser show at his local golf course. They have a cart that's dressed up like the Boogermobile, and that's what he has to drive when he goes to the course.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right, we'll dive real quick because we're out of time. Beer reviews. Mock, how was your water?
It was fine.
Massey, how was your water?
Refreshing.
Kyle, how was your MD? Kendall, how was your Oscar Blues?
I like the 1050 a lot, courtesy of the Riddler collection. I've had a few of these. Is this any different than like? Is it? Oh my god, what am I trying to say? It's 12.9%. Does it gain any more? Or is it kind of just capped at that? It's not like a Bourbon County, right? It just kind of
No, it doesn't really continue to do much.
but it's good. It's not. It's very very smooth. It comes in the 1 pint can, which is kind of cool. I would recommend it. Yes. I haven't done a lot of like reviews for stouts recently other than this beer, so I don't know how I feel like it stacks up, but very good. I give it a 4.4 out of 5.
All right. I had the 2018 Goose Island Bourbon County brand stout, the traditional one. So we're at almost 5 years. Thanks, Kendall. Let's say the flavor profile really hasn't changed all that much. It's a dark caramel type of stout with slight notes of like the marzipan, the coffee notes very subtly, but not like not traditional coffee, things like that. And but it drank a lot smoother. You could feel the higher ABV from the aging process, but it mellowed out over time, which I think is a pretty unique quality that the Bourbon County beers possess. I would give it a 4.7 out of 5.
High regard.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, if they want to hear more of my Bourbon County reviews, where can they do that?
Find us on Facebook at Getting Sports with Drunk, Twitter and Instagram at GSWD_4.
Make sure you use the hashtag GSWD for all your daily uses, whether it's, trying to reformat the NFL playoffs or, getting trusted with a guess the name process and stealing the thunder of Kyle.
Like, comment, subscribe on Podbean, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify.
Kendall, anything else?
No. Good show, everybody.
That was a good show.
Next week we will review. We'll do a quick review on Championship Sunday, a little Super Bowl preview, kind of discuss where things are at. We'll finish up our bracket, some various stuff, and then I believe the week after that, Kyle has produced a very large pre-MLB season show, right, Kyle?
Is there?
Yes, sir. And maybe we'll continue the new format of the guess the player as well as the top 5 Riddler rankings things. I think that's something we can do pretty relatively quick. So we'll see.
Shout out to
But until
Mattress
then-
Mac.
Mattress Mac, that's right. Until then,
Roasting Dak Prescott.
Try, Paul, one more time.
I said till then, I'm the host of Cupcake the Riddler.
I'm Mark.
Sheen Washable.
No.
I'm fuck the Twins.
The Mass Chris Massey.
And the Rat of a Red Baron, who's a frozen pizza. Meow.
Yeah.